Pop Culture Yearbook. On this show, we pick pieces of pop culture that were important to us in a given year. We then discuss our memories and dig into those movies, albums, shows, and more. I'm Brad.
I'm Pete.
And I'm Giff.
All right. I'm still reeling from that great episode last week about all that 80s country. I've been listening to it still. I can't stop. So
yeah,
I don't know about you guys.
Over and over again. I'm reeling because this is a rare matinee recording for us.
Yeah.
Usually just a behind the scenes thing. We almost always record in the evening, and usually it's on like a Tuesday or Wednesday evening, but due to scheduling, we're at like 2:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday afternoon. And so I'm
sound like Billy Joel right now.
Jet lag. Yeah, that's right.
Like you're starting the piano man there.
We got a good one.
Yes, this is out of character for us. I wonder if it'll affect our show at all. But
it's 2:00 on a
we're moving on
afternoon.
to Pete's pick for this month. So, Pete,
yeah,
what are we gonna do?
This is a movie I'm very excited about because I've got a special memory of it being the very first rated R movie that I can remember seeing. And the reason
reason to pick it right there then.
Yeah, that's right. So this movie came out in 1980. I believe I saw it in probably 82 or 83. So
it came out in 81. We're doing
81 right
81.
now. So.
I meant 81. So it was like 82 or 83, I think, when I saw it. And it was because of a family friend of ours. We stayed with them over the weekend. We used to go see them quite often. His name was Ernie. And rest in peace. He just passed away about 3 years ago. It was right around Christmas. And I went to his funeral. But they were really great family friends. And he left. Everybody else was doing something else. And the one night he was left in charge of watching me as a kid. And so he just put on a movie, didn't even think anything of it, didn't realize the rating of it. And it was this movie. It was Stripes. And so my memory of it was, and overall it's not that bad for a kid, but there are some boobs in there.
80s boobs, maybe.
It wasn't
quite a few, actually.
Yeah.
There were quite a few boobs, but it wasn't like the initial, like there's a few early in the movie. But what stood out to me was the mud wrestling scene. And that's what I remember most about it from being a kid. I'm like, wow, what is going on here?
Well, speaking of that, if I could just a little fun fact that I saw. So this is from Ivan Reitman and his son, Jason Reitman, who's a great director who made Up in the Air and a bunch of other movies. He was watching it as a kid, and I saw a comment that he said, "Hey, Dad, why are there so many boobs in this movie?" And he just said, "Well, son, it was the 80s.
Yeah. Shut up. That's what I would have said. Enjoy them.
It probably might have been my first memory of Bill Murray, too, as an actor, because this was before Ghostbusters came out. I wasn't really into Saturday Night Live at the time. And maybe I had seen him in Caddyshack before that. I don't recall, but this was definitely the first huge Bill Murray movie that I can remember seeing. So, which would have been another rated R movie. So, and then of course everybody came home and they're like, "What were you watching?" And then they all made a big deal out of it that he had allowed me to watch this movie. So, but it was great. I turned out okay, and it was fine. Gifford, what are your memories of this movie?
So, when I think about Stripes, I think this was on the classics list of the movies that we would rent in college. So Friday or Saturday, we would drive down to Main Street Morris. They had a small video place there, and we would rent movies like Stripes, Spies Like Us, Blues Brothers, Caddyshack, Vacation, and this was in that group. So I don't remember exactly the first time I saw it. It was before college, but this was one that was in a regular rotation for us freshman year at college when we would.
That's kind of an interesting point, because this one I don't recall as being on a heavy playlist that we would watch in college, and we really didn't watch it much together. I don't know if we ever watched it like all together like many of the other movies. I don't recall having done it, but it didn't get as much attention in the older years for me, and probably not for Brad either. But Gifford, if you have any more to add before we toss it back to Brad.
No, I think one of the things was just one of the things I loved about watching in my, like, again, I got quotes, air quotes here, the classics, was seeing these actors that are in these movies as some of their very first roles. So you knew them from something else that they were huge in, but then you see them in this, and they're playing bit parts or smaller roles, and they're new in their acting career. And this was such a great movie for them to
I had totally forgotten that Judge Reinhold was in this movie until I watched it this week. So, Brad, what about you?
Well, you're right. This is not in a regular rotation. First of all, I think I'm going to be kind of on an island as my guest here tonight, but
sail away with me.
I think I'm going to be on the 80s, 90s recall show again, doing their comedy bracket of the 80s. And there were two movies on that bracket that I saw, but I have basically zero memory of. And one was Crocodile Dundee. I had to watch it again. And the other one was Stripes, which I had to watch. I was going to watch it anyway for them, and then you picked it. So it worked out great. But I'm sure I saw this movie one time in the 80s. I mean, I know of it and everything, but I have no memory of it. It seems like, it gets mentioned a lot as one of those classic 80 comedies, but it's a big hole for me. So I was excited to watch it this time. Not so excited after watching it, though.
Oh, all right.
You're not going to be totally on an island because it had been a really long time since I watched it. I kind of get what you're saying. For me, it's a lot funnier in the first half, and then it gets kind of ridiculous when it feels like that they had to cram in too much into the movie. It's like, okay, they go through basic training, and then boom, immediately they're deployed, and then all of this stuff happens, and then that's where it got to be a little bit ridiculous. And I know it's a comedy, so whatever, but it got to be a little bit long too in that way.
The final third of the movie doesn't seem to fit.
And I have a lot of
and that whole thing. Yeah.
A lot of reasons and comments, but I did find, because I looked it up, because I never heard that much about this movie compared to a lot of the other ones that we love. I know of it and I've heard of it and I know people love it, but it's not talked about that much. And a couple things that I read, I love to go on Reddit, that a lot of people said they didn't find it very funny anymore. I hate the term, it doesn't age well, but I feel it fits with a lot of this movie. I feel like unless so I didn't grow up loving this movie, even though I saw all the other ones. Unless you grew up loving this movie, then I get it. You probably still love it. You probably think it's funny because it's so ingrained in you. But if you haven't seen it before, or if you forgot it all like me, I feel like it doesn't work at all very well. And one thing I read that I thought was kind of interesting is that this is only, a few years after Vietnam. And, there's a lot of bad feelings about the military and stuff in the country going on. And this was a movie that was designed to bring that back again and show people having fun and to make it exciting and everything like that. And given that context of the time, again, it makes sense to me of why people maybe fell in love with it at the time. But it just doesn't last to me like a lot of the other great ones do. And one other reason, which we'll get to here, is I don't like Bill Murray in this movie, and I love Bill Murray, but I'll get to that in a minute. So
anyway, I'll dive into my synopsis and then we'll come back to the commentary on the movie.
Good idea.
We'll, talk through. All right, here we go.
And I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I just kind of sat there
we get it.
It's okay, that Brad. Funny. I know. I'm just trying to clarify.
There's a lot of really funny parts.
Yes,
I thought, but let's get into it shortly. Down on his luck, New Yorker John Winger, played by Bill Murray, flames out in record time. He loses his cab fare, his job, his girlfriend, and even his pizza, all before the opening credits finish. Over beers and self-pity, he convinces best friend Russell Ziski, played by Harold Ramis, an ESL teacher whose students learn more swear words than grammar, that joining the U.S. Army will give their aimless lives a quick reboot. What they actually get is a misfit platoon that includes lovable lug Ox, played by John Candy, a paranoid psycho, played by Conrad Dunn, and assorted slackers who march to the cadence of Do What Diddy. After spectacularly After a spectacular, excuse me, sorry, that word shouldn't be there. After a basic training that includes mud wrestling, mortar tower mishaps, AWOL attempts, the gang somehow rallies behind Winger's locker room pep talk and graduates in style. Now stationed overseas, Winger and Ziski borrow the top secret EM-50 urban assault vehicle, more like a Winnebago, and tumble across the Czechoslovakian border. And forcing the rest of the platoon into a hostage situation that forces an improvised rescue that turns the screw-ups into Cold War heroes.
Yeah. Speaking of the EM-50, do you think the family truckster was based off the EM-50? Just the paint style, the overall look of the
yeah, I don't think so, but maybe I could see why.
I don't think so. I didn't see that either.
So, Brad, speaking of Vietnam, so you said that this was shortly thereafter. So, in the writing, Harold Ramis did put that quip about being 10-1, America's 10-1. We've been kicking ass for 200 years. When John gives his speech in the motor pool.
Yes, I did want to, because they didn't say Vietnam, right? But I kind of caught on that's what they must have been referring to there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do have a couple little maybe fun facts more about the cast. I only have two really, but they could be cast as well. But what I'm hoping next week we're going to do the Cannonball Run, which was like my first favorite movie as a kid, and I'm hoping that I don't have the same reaction to that one
on the rewatch
because I loved it so much. But Lois Hamilton, who plays Stillman's girlfriend in this movie, who is John Larroquette, who I love him too.
Oh, God, he was one of the highlights.
She's in Cannonball Run, so we have a little connection between these two movies. And then PJ Souls, one of the fetching military police, who, I guess we just have smoking hot military police. Could have been played by Kim Basinger, but she wanted too much money, and so it went to this other lady that I've never heard of outside of this movie.
She was Dennis Quaid's wife at the time.
Oh, really?
Yes. So he has an uncredited role towards the end of the movie.
All right.
Gifford, you probably have this in your facts, but it was budgeted. It was a $10 million budget and grossed $85 million, and number 5 domestically in 1981. Some other fun facts that I had. It was originally, they were thinking of Cheech and Chong being in this movie, but then they rewrote it for Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, of course, two of the Ghostbusters, which I love those two together. Harold Ramis was not in enough stuff, in my opinion.
Harold Ramis is always smiling. I love it.
That's what's great about him.
He's always smiling. It's permanent, and I do. He's great no matter what. He's probably my favorite part of this movie.
He always plays a smart guy that's the nerd and that knows knows more than everybody else, and that just comes across. And Bill Murray was the one that demanded that Harold Ramis play that role, or he wouldn't do the movie.
Because Dennis Quaid was being considered for the role of Russell, and Bill Murray said, "No, we got to have Harold do this."
They actually got input from the Pentagon so that they could film it at Fort Knox with real extras who were real soldiers and gear and everything. The Pentagon, actually, it was really well received. They loved it and provided whatever they needed to make the movie. John Candy actually really dreaded, it was a 3-day shoot for the mud wrestling scene, and he was not happy about it. He didn't feel comfortable doing it, but of course he did it, and the rest is history. Let's see here. In the original script, Sergeant Hulka was scripted to die, but then the audience tests saved him. They didn't like that he was going to die in the movie, so they rewrote it accordingly.
Well, they were going to bring back his twin brother to finish out the training.
Oh, just like Beer
of course,
Fest.
play just like Beer Fest, and obviously the same actor playing his brother, but that did not test well.
Now, did you guys, as I pulled it up, there was the option to watch the extended version. Did you guys watch that at all, or did you? Because
no, I did not see any extended version.
No.
Okay.
I explained why you thought it was a little long too. Then,
right? I didn't watch that either, but it was. I guess
I guess not.
I read it in the fun facts that it was an LSD detour. So the extra scenes were like they got high on LSD. So that is my fun facts. Gifford, you're always good with fun facts.
So I spoke earlier about, this being a movie that was early on in a lot of people's careers. So this is Harold Ramis's first movie. He had other credits, but this is his first movie. Sean Young, it's her second movie. Judge Reinhold, his third. Timothy Busfield, you saw him shortly during the mortar scene. This is his first movie end credit.
Pre-nerds.
Yep. Bill Paxton he's in here somewhere.
Oh, I didn't see him.
I couldn't find him, but I was looking for him. But it's his second movie. I believe he may be uncredited. And then I didn't see this guy either. I was looking for him. He was uncredited. Donald Gibb, again, Revenge of the Nerds, Ogre. This was his second movie that he'd ever been in.
All right, well, I got a couple more that I don't know which movie it was for them, but Joe Flaherty, the dad from Freaks and Geeks, who was SCTV, and Happy Gilmore, by the way, which would probably come up later. He's got a little part in it. And Dave Thomas is the MC at the wrestling match, and he a very small part for him, but he was from him and Rick Moranis were Strange Brew. Like the brothers that did all that stuff in the 80s. So those were a couple that stood out to me. And then one more, don't know John Voldstad by name. He was the second in command to Stillman, his aide. Did you guys catch? I knew he looked so familiar.
I didn't look him up.
Figure out who he is? It's amazing.
I didn't look him up.
Oh, now this is a good fun fact. He is the second Daryl on Newhart.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! Really?
And I can tell I knew him from watching it, and it took a minute to find it.
That's great.
And then once you see it, you know it's him. Not the first Daryl, second Daryl.
Yes.
He's a little cleaner in this movie than he was on Newhart.
So I got one other fun fact here. So as Pete said, this was filmed at Fort Knox, but in the movie, it's called Fort Arnold. Now, Fort Arnold used to be a military base here in the United States until we found out it was named after Benedict Arnold. And after, of course, he was, found guilty of treason. And so that base was renamed West Point.
Oh, West
wow.
Point. Much better.
Interesting.
Name.
Yeah.
So speaking of the cast, as I'm looking, I loved everybody in this movie, really. Like, that's the thing. I mean, John Larroquette is a favorite of mine. I love Harold Ramis, John Candy. Some of these guys like Joe Flaherty, I love. And the two girls, Sean Young and PJ Souls, were great. They're just having fun. I think the reason why the movie fell flat for me is Bill Murray. He's so unlikable in this movie. And he's playing the classic Bill Murray shtick, which at this time, it's not overused. It's 1981. But like it can get old. Like his shtick, his unaffected, I'm just, the Bill Murray shtick.
It can get old in every movie.
I know. But usually you like him. Like in Groundhog Day, for example. He's redeeming. I like him. You can kind of see past it. There's more there. He's such an asshole to everybody in this movie, especially for the first half. The way the stupid things he says, the way he gets the troop in trouble, the way he treats his girlfriend. He's the worst part of the movie to me. It doesn't work. And I know that's probably ridiculous to say, but I like everybody else and he's not likable. And the fact that, of course, he becomes a hero at the end. Oh, of course. Well,
and he delivered a big motivational speech to everybody.
You get to be the hero, even though you were absolutely the worst person in the whole thing and the one that caused all the problems. So I love Bill Murray. I rarely say that, but in this movie, his character just is not likable, I think.
In some of the movies, it's that stuff happens to him and he has bad luck. In this one, he creates his own bad luck. And so
that's a great way to put it. He creates all the problems just by being a ass.
Right. And even like later in the movie, there's scenes where they're coming out of the hotel when they're in Germany and he's just the stupid quips he's making to people in the parking lot. Like, they're just kind of dumb and off-putting. And like you say, he causes all the issues. He's the one who wants to drive to Germany at the end and meet up with the girlfriends. And
Yeah,
and of course it was his own fault. Like he was treated as a hero. He was it was his idea to go steal the Winnebago.
I didn't like the redemption story either. I just felt like the star of the movie doesn't usually ruin it, but in this case, that's kind of what it was. Like I still like the movie. I liked a lot of the parts and the people, but if you can't get behind the star, it's going to make it a lot, worse.
Yeah, I was thinking that it was his own doing that he got his whole platoon captured, and and then he was the one
go after him. Everybody else in the RV said, "No, we need to go, get this done. Like we got to go take care of them."
Right, they were the ones that were the heroes.
Right,
and he was the one in the end that had his own picture up on the magazine cover. That's how it ended. Right, so I get it, Brad. You are definitely not on an island.
Yeah,
we're with you. I'm with you.
Well, I just it's one of those things where I hadn't seen the movie and I probably saw it once, and to go back and watch it after hearing all that stuff about it, you have a different expectation, and sometimes it works, and usually it works. But in this case, I'm like, I don't think this is very good. But I'm not going to also take away from people that love it, especially if they saw it back then, because I think if you knew it back then, if I had grown up with it, I'd probably have a whole different perspective.
I tend to agree. I mean, two of my favorite characters in the movie are Larroquette's character. I think his facial expressions through the movie are just the absolute best. Even when he doesn't have a line, just the look on his face is great. Of course, we have the wonderful peeking in on the shower scene, and him kind of commentating through that was hilarious. And then Sergeant Hulka, I absolutely love his character.
And that's Warren Oates, by the way, right? We didn't mention his name, so.
I believe he died of a heart attack a year after.
Yeah, I think that's right. I remember that now. I didn't write it down, but unfortunately.
I had a couple of quotes or lines that stood out for me as they're listening. The line, "We're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn."
Yes.
That would make me laugh.
I wrote that one down as well.
When they're at the bus station and John Candy says, "A movie on this flight," and he thought that was just the funniest thing. The line itself isn't funny at all, but how he just cracks himself up. And I love that the whole John Candy character. Of course, the famous one is "That's a Fact, Jack," that you hear on K-Fan. That's what they use.
Yeah.
I don't know if they do anymore.
There's like 2 or 3 really popular, well-known lines from this movie that now I have a better context of how they were used. That I knew of them anyway, even without remembering the movie. That's one of them.
Right.
I think you're ready for the Special Olympics. Was one he's trying to do push-ups. Probably a line that doesn't age well, but it's a pretty funny line in the movie. Yeah. And
it's so dry the way he says it,
right?
The way Russell puts it out there.
And it's Czechoslovakia. It's just like going into Wisconsin.
Yes, I had to write that one down. That was just the best. Of course, as Minnesotans, we are going to definitely jump all over that one.
Right. I could relate.
The other 2 lines that I wrote down 3 more. The 2, though, that I think are really famous that you hear people say. One is "Lighten up, Francis."
Yep.
Of course, you get that all the time.
Lighten up, Francis.
But then I didn't realize "son of bitch, shit." Like I didn't know that was from this movie. I didn't even know really that was from a movie. But I hear it and I love it. So it was good to hear that one.
That was the first one I wrote down. But I say this, didn't know it was from this movie.
Oh, so yeah, you say it. But you didn't even know it's in this movie?
No.
Okay, there you go.
Like, oh my God.
We're too young.
This is the movie that it's from, but I say "son of bitch" shit all the time.
But my favorite line in the movie is when they're talking about, like, I think they were being interviewed to get in, and they asked if they've ever been convicted of a felony, and they're like, "Convicted? No, never convicted." No. That was my favorite line, and then the other 3 were just ones that I just knew. But I do love "son of bitch" shit.
Yeah. The only one that's left for me to speak of here, I believe. Let me just look through. This one right before "That's the Fact, Jack." Where's your drill sergeant, man? Blowing up, sir. I always love that line. But the other one is when the scene where they're all getting to know each other, and of course, John's chicks dig me because I rarely wear underwear, and when I do, it's usually something unusual. But I now I know I've always lose women to guys like you. It's not just the uniform; it's the stories you tell. So much fun and imagination. Lee Harvey, you're a madman. When you stole that cow and your friend tried to make it with the cow, I want to party with you, cowboy. The two of us together, forget it. I mean, that's just such a fun line. And so much of that was just ad-libbed in this movie. Like, they didn't know what these guys were going to say in these particular scenes. So Hulka was doing, his best to not laugh. And then at the end, when he finally stands up and laughs at the big toe comment, that was more of a genuine laugh because he didn't know what the hell Murray was going to say.
Well, and if we're going to do our favorite scenes next, that was a good transition because you mentioned the meeting the guys there. And that's one of my two favorite scenes was just when they first get there and we get to meet like basically the characters, which you need to know. But that was done well and pretty funny. And like, again, I like most of the characters in the movie. So that was my first of my two favorite scenes. What else?
Okay. What was the other one?
Oh, well, if you want, my other one is the graduation ceremony, which maybe it's unrealistic that they pulled it off or whatever, but
that was
I did like it.
Crazy.
Yeah, but it was entertaining, and I it felt like that should have maybe been the end of the movie, even though they've been really short. But I liked that scene, and it was a good crowd pleaser type. So
it was, but then when the general immediately says, "Yes, these are the kind of guys we need. Let's deploy them tonight."
No, I know it's ridiculous.
So stupid. These are the guys that we're looking for.
The guys who didn't get here in time. Who it doesn't whatever. But
they're not.
It's not like they were even all that together. They were not together or anything. Yeah. I mean, it was fun to watch, but there was nothing redeeming about that scene where you would be like, "Wow, they really pulled it together." It's like half of them are not even dressed. And they're marching, their cadence is not together at all. So it's not like they even accomplished anything to get to that point. I don't know. It would have been one thing, I guess, if they had done like Do Wah Diddy or whatever it was and still been together with all their moves. But they weren't even that.
It was still pretty solid. I mean, I agree with Brad. It's a fun scene. But after that scene, I just wrote, no effing way they get sent to Italy.
No.
Right.
Well, that's kind of where it turns then. Like, you're pleased by the scene. It's fun. But that's where the movie kind of turns because now it's like so stupid that. Yeah. But again, I probably like the movie the least of anybody. So I'm stretching for my favorite scenes. And those were the two that stood out to me.
Yeah. Pete, you got anything that stood out for
the other? Well, don't forget they have the girls over, and it's like in the general's house or whatever, and then they show them in the Foot Locker. Bill Murray is with his girl in the Foot Locker.
That was interesting.
That's another one too. Just how these girls immediately just turned right to them, and there's no like reason for them to like these guys or anything. But you got to pair them up.
I have one reason.
Okay, what's that?
So normally our recruits are going to be 18, 19 years old, correct? These two guys are a little more worldly, if you will, a little more, I hate to say mature, but understand the world a little bit more.
They just liked that they were more in their age group.
Right, yeah, because these are military police. You don't just get handed a military police, station. So it's like that's the only thing I could come up with.
Well, I guess I'm glad you at least had a reason. I'm not sure I agree with it, but you tried. Right. That's good.
It's a better reason than anything.
I had the same question too. I'm like, seriously, these two very fetching women are going to go after these two slobs.
There was no reason for it.
Right. And that's the only thing that I could possibly come up with.
Unless they just sleep around and will sleep with anybody. I mean, maybe that every year they get a new class and
maybe that's the case. And they could have set like in Bull Durham with Annie, like she said, I'm going to have a new guy every year. I mean, they could have set that up. I don't think that's the case either. But again, you're trying. That's good.
Maybe MP stands for many penises. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
It could be.
scene that I had
Myriad, I think.
Myriad, yes. The scene that another one that I had down was the haircut scene. And again, this was one where Reitman, the director, did not tell the actors that they were going to shave them. Like, those are real Army barbers in there. And I just loved Candy coming out holding his hair. And he was honestly, like, I read that he was depressed by getting his head shaved like that.
I think I saw that too.
And was holding his hair.
Here's what I didn't get. Everybody else had their heads shaved. But, of course, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, they had haircuts, but they weren't shaved by any means.
Right.
Again, it's like, what is going on here?
Just take a little off. You know, they didn't need to go. And then, of course, though, it's scene that, you know, Pete remembers as a, you know, six-year-old, more than likely, when he saw it, the mud wrestling scene. I mean, it's so crazy. I can understand Candy being uncomfortable doing the scene. I mean, holy crap, you got to throw around 3 or 4 women and, you know, roll around in the mud. That it would be rough on a set. It would be fun if it was truly out on a guy's night. But yeah, that would be a tough scene to do. But yeah, that obviously that sticks out pretty heavily.
By the way, that's how Blue died, wasn't it?
Yes.
Old school.
Yep.
Because it was a very similar scene, a mud wrestling scene in Old School, and that's when he died.
Ring the bell.
Well, that one wasn't mud. That was all. What was that they were in?
KY.
Oh, was it just
KY jelly?
Oil?
Yes, it's KY jelly.
Okay. But it was a very similar scene, and this probably provided the inspiration for it. And I'm like,
I hope so.
I thought, okay, well, this is something that exists that I'll be able to go to all the time when I get older. I honestly have never seen a place like that.
Mud wrestling and wet T-shirt contests. It was kind of like in the 80s.
All over the place.
Yeah, you thought it would be everywhere. I have never had the pleasure of walking into a bar and seeing anything like that.
No.
One of the other things that I had written down here, as far as the ad-libbing that happened in this movie, right at the end, when they come back on the jet on the tarmac there, and Murray comes down and he kisses Ox. He kisses John Candy. You see John Candy crack. Like, he couldn't hold back his smile. Because I'm sure he didn't know what the hell was going to happen. But, I love how free everything was in this and how the actors were just allowed to do I'm
sure it's a little bit like Caddyshack, where they were encouraged to ad lib. I think that's how Caddyshack was made largely, and probably the same. You know, you got Bill.
Well,
Murray,
a lot of these guys, that are. I mean, like in Fletch, it was the Shirley guys the other day talking about it, how they basically filmed every scene twice, once kind of by the script, and once where Chevy could just do whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah,
and then then you figure out what's going to work, and I think that's pretty common with most of these 80s comedies and these great comedians.
Right. I'm sure that they weren't taking the job very seriously. Maybe some were, but some weren't. And that made for a better movie.
Well, and the gentleman, who was the gentleman who played Hulka again?
Warren Oates.
Warren Oates was obviously older, more established actor. He had been in a boatload of old Westerns. So he was, much more polished. And I know there was a scene where Reitman told the cast to pull him down into the mud. Must have been one of the training scenes or something. And he was kind of off put by that. He wasn't expecting to actually chip a tooth in the melee there. But he was much more polished and professional, I'm sure.
So,
go
ahead, Brett. Well, I was just going to say, we know that in the original filming, Hulka dies. Are we assuming that he died in the mortar when the mortar hit the tower?
Had to
have been. Yeah. But it felt to me like that scene was kind of thrown in there, like, he was supposed to die before I even knew this fact. But then it just felt a little bit. It felt a little bit off that he came back and was fine after that. I thought that was supposed to be like a defining point in the movie, but it was just like they threw it together. Okay, he's hurt, but he's fine.
You needed him to come back to throw the Mayday out for the idiots who got captured in Czechoslovakia, of course. I did really enjoy the noise that he made after falling from the tower. Just that he couldn't even come to words. That gets me every time I watch this movie.
Brad, I cut you off.
No, I was just I didn't know if we were wrapping it up yet or not. One of the lines that I read that I thought was funny, and this is probably heresy to most people, but they talk about how the movie's not really that funny. But again, the timing was a big thing. Mm-hmm. Hearing that they had all this maybe cooperation from the military and that it was in response to Vietnam, I get it. That's great, and it's great for the time, and I'm glad that it worked for everybody then. But they said it was more of a poor man's police academy, which I prefer. I prefer Police Academy myself. So it made me chuckle. The movie that I actually compare it to, which I think I'm going to watch one more time, but there was a movie that I loved in the 80s that I watched, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. And I'm like, God, this just is not as good as I remembered. Spies Like Us, kind of a similar vibe. With
it reminded me of Spies Like Us, for sure.
Yeah, and a kind of ridiculous ending, but I might have been in a bad mood the day I watched. I don't know. Maybe it's not funny at all. Maybe it's better than I remember. I don't know. But as an adult watching it, it didn't hit me the way I remembered it. Mm-hmm. But I still love Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd in it. Like the characters, I like the characters. I liked it. I like the concept of this movie. It's mostly Bill Murray, I think, that turned me off, really, which is crazy because usually that's not the case.
I did read too that this movie actually did help increase recruitment.
Of course,
to a degree in the military, which Top Gun did as well, but to a much higher degree. And I think that was actually part of the intent of making the movie Top Gun, and why the military is so cooperative on that. And so,
speaking of Top Gun, I just spent the last 3 days in San Diego, and I went to Coronado Island, and they were like military jets. They're just practicing all the time. I guess we saw like 5 in formation flying right by each other, and it was pretty awesome. So, and the big ships coming through the harbor. And so, I just got to see some of that stuff.
Did you feel the need for speed?
No, I didn't.
No. Okay.
Right. You could have joined the Navy SEALs. That's where they trained.
But we walked by Coronado Island has this huge beach, and there was a place. There was only one volleyball net set up, but there was places for like probably 20 volleyball courts there. And I'm like, God, I felt the need to take my shirt off and play some volleyball. And I wondered if they actually filmed it there.
Did you have jeans on? That really would have been great. Take your shirt off and have jeans on.
I did not have jeans on. So anyway, I mean, no disrespect for people who love this movie. I totally get it, but I think it's one that doesn't hold up like a lot of the other ones do, unless you loved it.
I was worried that Brad was going to stop respecting me because I picked this movie, but
no, I'm
well before.
I'm actually really glad that you did, because I wanted to watch it. I wanted to I had a big hole there, and now it's been filled. Maybe not maybe not satisfactorily, but now I know. Mm-hmm. So that's good.
I know. All right. Yeah.
That's why
anybody else. I was just going to say, anybody else have anything to add before we move on to our draft?
No, I think I hit all the points that I wanted to.
No, that's it.
All right. Well, this afternoon's draft is going to be movies with Saturday Night Live cast members. There's a long list. I don't think that we're going to have any trouble getting to our 5 each that we need. And so I have the number 1 pick, and then we drew straws before the show, and Brad gets the number 2 pick, and Gifford gets the number 3 pick. So very excited. My number 1 is what I think we can all agree is the greatest movie of all time. Okay. I'm going with Three Amigos, starring Chevy Chase and Martin Short, both Saturday Night Live cast members, and Steve Martin, and regular but not a cast member. Yes, he's a 5-timer, but not considered a cast member, so he on his own would not qualify for this category. But
that's correct.
Well, I was wondering when you said, because I feel like there was 2 movies you could have said there that would have worked.
Oh shit! Are you going to take my movie?
And we do agree that Three Amigos is the best, but I will counter with Caddyshack, of course, with Chevy Chase and Bill Murray in it.
Yep, that was
directed by Harold Ramis, who I guess he's not from SNL, but tying it back together. You weren't going to say Caddyshack, Gifford? I'm shocked.
Nope, I got my number 1 overall pick still on the board. So can I ask a quick question, Pete? Since Brad took Caddyshack, does that mean Caddyshack 2 is off the board?
If you really want to take it, I don't even know who was in the cast. And
Caddyshack 2 is. If Caddyshack 2 is taken, you are off the show. That's what happens.
Well, I didn't know it was like an album. Like you pick a song off an album, then the album's gone. Or if you pick a movie from a series, then the series is gone.
Let's just say, though,
how about this?
A series is gone. We even though it wouldn't apply to Caddyshack, if you pick a movie from a series, it's gone.
Well, I would throw this in there because here's what I was going to say: is that if it is a different Saturday Night Live character or actor that is in Caddyshack 2 and not Chevy Chase and Bill Murray, then I would give it to you.
Well, Aykroyd was.
So if there's,
I don't
know.
Yeah,
Dan Aykroyd. If there's a big enough of a difference, sure. That's a lot of wasted time on Caddyshack 2, right?
Yes, there is. Yes. Well, if I can pick this and take the whole franchise.
Oh, I know what you're taking.
I'm gonna go well, and I've said this when we covered all 4 of them in our summer series. That
no, this is
Christmas Vacation is my favorite.
But so you're getting Clark Griswold, who is in all 4 movies. So as Chevy Chase.
Can I kick European Vacation out though, and that's still available?
Nope, you got to take the whole package.
I don't want that one.
All right, so you're actually taking Christmas Vacation.
I'm taking Christmas Vacation. That's my favorite of the.
And we can't. Cause actually, I don't like this now because now we can't pick Vacation. That's ridiculous.
So I actually changed what I was gonna pick based on that ruling. So I get the Vacation movies. All right, Pete.
I am gonna go with Mike Myers as Austin Powers and Dr. Evil.
That's the one that I thought Gifford was going to take there when he said the series.
Oh, no. Still Vacation. I'm going to go Vacation over Austin Powers every day of the week.
I would too, but I just, on my list, that's the one I noticed there. All right, well, I'm going to take what's my number 2 overall pick. This is one of the movies that this guy saved Saturday Night Live single-handedly, and along with Dan Aykroyd, made one of the best movies of the 80s, and that's Trading Places with Eddie Murphy. Caddyshack and Trading Places. I just like the best doubleheader right there. I can't go wrong.
If you can get past the gorilla rape and the blackface, it's all right.
Well, all these movies have things that don't really work anymore, and we just have to look past those. Or
now, to be fair,
context.
To be fair, it's a gorilla raping a human, not the other way around. So it's maybe a little better, right?
But you're right. Dan Aykroyd does have blackface on, doesn't he?
Yeah, but it's made up for by Jamie Lee Curtis in a couple moments.
Okay. All right, Gifford, what's your next pick?
All right. I am going to go with one you guys might not think of. Courtney is angry with me for picking this movie, but I'm going to go with it. And it's possibly the best movie that was ever made. And that is The Princess Bride, featuring Billy Crystal, who was on season 10.
I wondered if somebody was going to pick that.
Oh yeah, it was the first movie I wrote down. That was going to be my number 1 pick.
He's not the star of the movie,
and he's not in it for very long, but it counts.
But what a scene! What a scene!
And I didn't know though if I picked it if I was going to get in trouble or not. And...
yeah, okay.
Okay, well, that's I'm glad that you did pick it because I actually took it off my list. I kind of thought I didn't know if I could take it or not.
I had to have it. I
felt like I had to have movies where at least one of the major stars was,
And that was Courtney's argument. It's like, that's not a major star. And I'm like, yeah, but that's.
But you're right. It's iconic. An extremely memorable. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not just like a little nothing. It's a scene that everybody knows.
Right. I just call it very good strategery on your part.
Yeah.
My next one, I went with Chevy Chase on my not on my first pick. Going with him again. It's Fletch.
Oh, geez. I'm going to end up with no Chevy Chase here, probably. Crazy.
Funny Farm's still available.
I do like Funny Farm, actually, but not as much to put it up here at this point.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's not even on my list. Okay, it gets a little harder here because, there's so many good ones, but they're so, similar. And I'm going to do what Gifford just did, actually. And in this movie, he was a big star. I'm going to take Billy Crystal and When Harry Met Sally, then.
When we did this, I told Courtney, I said, there's no way Brad is not taking When Harry Met Sally.
Well, I didn't have it ranked that high because, again, he's on one season and you don't identify it with SNL as much, but
that's your
great.
movie.
It's such a great movie. Now that he's been put into the rotation, it's okay to take it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he was a cast member, for crying out loud.
I know he was.
Yeah,
I know. It definitely counts.
All right. Well, this guy's got a lot to choose from for a cast member. I'm going with Eddie Murphy in Coming to America.
Oh, no, you took the other one. Which we just decided, guys, we're going to be covering next month.
Yep.
Oh, God, I can't wait to watch that again.
I thought it was the trash.
Donations.
My next one, it's because it is part of our yearly rotation, and it's such a good movie, and it's a Christmas movie, and we haven't even mentioned him so far, even though he could get a lot of mentions for this category. I'm going with Will Ferrell as Buddy the Elf.
There you go.
Elf.
It was the first Will Ferrell movie that I wrote down. To me, it's the movie.
It's my well, actually, Austin Powers is a Will Ferrell movie too. If you want to,
that's true.
That's
true. As Mustafa.
But I had Elf as my highest one too. In fact, I think it's the only one I had on here. I didn't include
oh my God, really?
I've got a couple of them.
Well, the next
I've got quite a few.
Then I guess I should have. Oh no, I got one on here. But Wedding Crashers, although I don't love him in that movie, I love the movie.
Meatloaf.
Yeah, I don't get it. Anyway, before I piss off somebody else, I'll pick again. I can't believe this one hasn't been taken yet, because to me, this is like the quintessential SNL cast member movie. It's the one that kind of made these movies work, that were based on the show itself. So I'm going Wayne's World.
Dang it.
Well, you got Courtney's vote.
Oh, good.
Yep. All right. So we've got Brad took a great Aykroyd film in Trading Places. I'm going to go with Dan Aykroyd in The Great Outdoors.
All right. Brad, I think you're going to love my next pick. You're going to absolutely love it. And you're going to, if you don't have it on your list, you're going to be kicking yourself for not putting it on your list. I'm going with Tim Meadows as Sam in Walk Hard.
You did it! Oh my God, you jerk!
Yep.
I have Walk Hard and Pop Star down specifically because of Tim Meadows.
Yep.
Even though Pop Star also has Andy Samberg.
Right.
That is, I love it. I love that I'm creative.
I told you you'd love it.
I do. Let's see. Well, here, I'm going to go for some old school votes on this last one, too. I mean, again, this is maybe the movie that made 80s, even though it wasn't from the 80s. This is maybe the movie that created all the comedies that we love that came afterwards. The reason for them existing is John Belushi and Animal House.
Thank you for picking it. That was high on my list.
Yep. So, it's maybe not as the one that I know and love quite as much as the others, I respect it for sure. And it's great anyway. Okay.
So, unless I'm mistaken,
I can't believe Peak Walk Hard. That's awesome.
Yeah, right? Unless I'm mistaken, we have not had any Sandler picks yet.
No, I was thinking about taking him with my last one there, and
I think I'm
for the show.
I think I'm going to go with the original Happy Gilmore. That way I can get both of them, right? Yeah, I wasn't.
Well, and since you brought it up, I want to put a plug in for Happy Gilmore too, which you're the first person I've heard that didn't care as much for it. It is so well done, and it is so funny, and especially as a golf fan, it is fantastic.
Yeah, the irony that was in there for the golf stuff, I could appreciate that, but I'm like, hey, wait a minute, those two guys left and went to the other. So anyway.
I wasn't sure which one you were going to go with, if it was going to be this one or Billy Madison.
I actually have Wedding Singer higher on my list than Billy Madison.
I forgot about the Wedding Singer. There are three that we all really like, right? I mean, anything beyond that, probably not really much. Unless you're looking at one of like his dramatic roles, which there's
it wouldn't seem to fit the category as much when there's all these other ones available.
Well, that's why. So one of my favorite movies on my list is Will Ferrell in Stranger Than Fiction. which I didn't pick it because it's not going to get votes. But you talk about a great movie and a great performance. That's near the top of my list right there.
Mm-hmm.
So the other ones I had, as far as honorable mention, I had Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop.
Yep.
Will Forte as MacGruber.
Yes.
Chris Farley and Tommy Boy and David Spade.
That's a big
Kristen
one.
Wiig. We had no women that were listed, but I had Kristen Wiig in Bridesmaids.
Yep. Good one.
Andy Samberg in Hot Rod. Jason Sudeikis in We're the Millers. Dan Aykroyd and in Ghostbusters, and Bill Murray in Ghostbusters. David Spade as Joe Dirt.
Pete, don't forget one of your favorite movies, Dragnet.
That's true.
I figured you'd have that one. Yep.
Not on my list. Did you say the Blues Brothers yet? We haven't said that.
Nope.
Oh, that one. Somebody's going to be pissed off that we didn't take that one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And Will Ferrell as Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights, yeah.
I got a few more that you haven't said. You did mention Billy Madison somewhere in there, right?
Yep.
I mentioned Pop Star, like my 1A and 1B with the biopics, Walk Hard and Pop Star. Anchorman. You didn't mention Anchorman, right? That's so true. Anchorman and Wedding Crashers would be the two that I would that have Will Ferrell in them that I would put high. But Anchorman, he's the star, so bigger one. How about Groundhog Day?
Yep.
We all love Groundhog Day, and we did an episode on that one. You mentioned MacGruber, right? And Fletch, you picked Bridesmaid. Okay, here's a big one. Two more I have. Will Forte also in Nebraska. Not a comedy.
Oh, that is a freaking great movie.
It's a great movie, and he's fantastic in it. And then here's a big one we haven't said yet. So I Married an Axe Murderer. I mean,
I got that on my list.
It doesn't get as much credit, but that movie is about as good as Wayne's World and Austin Powers for Mike. I mean, he nailed it.
Yeah. Of course, I took Christmas Vacation, but Vacation would be high on everybody's list.
Well, I thought we already mentioned that. Yeah, Vacation would have been one of my top picks, of course.
Correct. For Eddie Murphy, Harlem Nights, I love that movie. That was high on my list. Let me see. For Will Ferrell, Old School. If we wanted to get votes, Step Brothers, but that's not that high on my list. Let me see. We've also got Spies Like Us. We had mentioned in the episode.
Good one to mention.
And then the last one I have here, can't forget about, and I didn't take a Bill Murray movie on my list, but I can't forget about Big Earn McCracken in Kingpin.
See, and to go back full circle, what I started with, I mean, he is one of the biggest assholes in that movie.
Yes.
But you still like him.
You love him.
You love to watch him. I mean, it's just because you're supposed to hate him on that one, but it's like it works there.
I pulled out way early on that one.
Yeah.
Brad, what about I Love You, Man?
Great one.
Andy Samberg is also.
That's because it's not a very big role. You almost forget he's in there, but that's a great.
I thought you would have that one on your
list. He has a great. I mean, his role in there is a great part of that movie.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's see here. Just for people listening that might be newer, how many of these have we done? Caddyshack, Three Amigos, Austin Powers, Billy Madison, Vacation, Christmas Vacation, Elf, When Harry Met Sally, Walk Hard, Pop Star, Tommy Boy, Groundhog Day.
You said Princess Bride.
And from my list, and then others, The Princess Bride, and a couple others that you guys said. That's a lot of these movies are in our catalog.
And notice we didn't even mention the movie Stripes during the draft in honorable mention or getting picked.
And deservedly so, in my opinion.
Because we do that so often where we have the movie that generates the category.
We do.
Then there's so many other great ones that
But I think me and Peter are on the same page. Gifford, do you feel like that movie is in the same league as most of these that we mentioned?
No, and I didn't have it on my list. I didn't put it down. Yeah.
It's true that we forget, but it's also true that we don't like it as much as these movies.
The ones we picked are, in our opinion, better to go with. So yeah.
That was fun. That was actually a fun. It was such a big category, and we could name so many more. If you think of like smaller bit roles, like you thought of Samberg and I Love You. There's so many we could think of.
Oh, for sure. And I didn't even research anything. I just sat there and wrote stuff down.
I know, but I think we have 3 pretty amazing lists here to put out.
It'll be interesting to see who wins this one.
I think I'm going to win for Animal House and Caddyshack.
I think all lists are great, and whatever people vote for is the right pick. That's me with my rosy. Yeah, what do you got?
What band wins every mud wrestling match that they're put into?
That is Preacher Row.
That's right.
Yeah.
I would like to see Hummel in a mud wrestling match ring. That would be fun to watch. I think he would like.
Oh my God.
Or in the KY Jelly, I could see him.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, hey, thanks for listening, everybody.
We got we got Cannonball Run next week. We got one more great 81 episode coming at you. That's going to be really fun to revisit.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to it. Thanks for. We're going to be back on a regular schedule, by the way. Not that it matters to our listeners, but we'll be back on a Tuesday night. I think we agreed.
This summer really threw things off, but yeah, we're getting back into our groove here. Hopefully, it translates into the quality of the show.
For sure.
All right.
I think it will.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
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 No one's here to comfort me. Sorry for what I have done. Sorry that your son is gone. 7 steps and it will be my last. And start to me on my path. I turn and I look to you. I'm scared but there's nothing I can do.